The men convicted in Crystal Rogers' murder are expected to learn tomorrow how long they'll spend behind bars. The unanswered questions about the case and what happens next. A decade after Crystal Rogers disappeared, Brooks Houck and Joseph Lawson,
it's not fair. It's not fair what they did. Not at all.
Are expected to learn their sentences on Wednesday afternoon in Nelson County. Is he still sticking to his story, saying that he had nothing to do with this?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody, not just Joey, I think everybody's looking forward to having some finality to this, that's what we'll get out of the final sentencing, so that the next chapter can proceed, and that's when an appeal will be filed and it'll be put in the hands of an appellate court.
WDRB sat down with Lawson's attorneys before he learns his fate. Houck's attorneys declined our request for an interview. Their sentencing was delayed from last month because of Lawson's ongoing health issues after a motorcycle crash in 2021. His attorneys say Lawson sitting upright at trial wasn't good for his health.
The problem with that is because of the paraplegia, he can't necessarily feel or know when something is going wrong until it kind of goes too far, and that's unfortunately what happened.
In July, a jury in Bowling Green found 43-year-old Houck guilty of murder and complicity to tampering with evidence. The jury recommended a sentence of life in prison plus 5 years.
There's a good chance that I'm going to die in here. Do you understand that?
Houck, who was Rogers' boyfriend at the time, never spoke at trial, but we're hearing from him in hours of jail phone calls made public through open records. Here's what he said after the verdict.
Of course, the journey that my life has taken has completely turned around today. You understand that? After a jury speaks like they did, that's a permanent decision.
The jury recommended a 25-year sentence for Lawson. He was convicted on conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. Lawson's attorneys say Lawson maintains his innocence, even though his father, Steve Lawson, said his son was involved in moving Rogers' car that got a flat tire. So his dad said that he picked up Joey drove the car, but Joey says that didn't happen. So what do you think of these two different stories?
I hate to say it because it really makes me feel uncomfortable. I believe that was a false confession by Steve Lawson. It was the product of very coercive interview tactics over the period of months, probably 40 hours or so in 2023 by KSP.
Rogers, a 35-year-old mother of 5 from Nelson County, was last seen alive during the 4th of July weekend in 2015 with Houck. Days later, her car was found abandoned on the side of the Bluegrass Parkway. Her body was never found.
There's been days in my life where I've just sat down and cried because I wanted my mom there.
And while the Rogers case has been tried with convictions, Lawson's attorneys bring up there are still many unanswered questions.
The biggest takeaway is Crystal Rogers' cell phone is in that car, and there's a fingerprint on there that doesn't belong to Joey Lawson, doesn't belong to Steve Lawson, doesn't belong to Brooks Houck or anybody related to them. Additionally, it doesn't belong to Crystal or anybody in her family. It is a complete 100% unknown fingerprint. And we've just convicted 3 people of this crime.
They've got me in here laying down in a bed on a steel bunk bed, locked up in a concrete box, and I'm trying to hire lawyers that can help me fight my way out of this. I have to wait to go through this appeals process.
Steve Lawson has already been sentenced to 17 years in prison for Rogers' murder. The Brooks, Houck, and Joseph Lawson sentencing is scheduled for tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. in Nelson County. WDRB will be in the courtroom and will have the latest on air, online, and on social media.